Welcome to another NBA Finals edition, Game 5 in Golden State tonight, as we have another tight one as the series is tied at 2. Harris Bouchard, Nick Fay, soon to be joined by John Zawiski, a writer we have on OTGbasketball.com. So right now, Nick, we have the Warriors by 1. They started out fast, and the Cavs got back in the game.
Yeah, like you said, it started off fast. The Cavs got off to a pretty bad start. The Warriors really didn't take advantage. They got it up to an 8-point lead, but the Cavs were able to respond. Then they've had some nice play from J.R. Smith and LeBron James, and they've even taken the lead at points. Now it's pretty much a back-and-forth game right now.
Starting to see Draymond Green get a little chippy, and I had tweeted this out in the first half, and as Tristan Thompson makes a free throw, the Cavs lead by 1, 45-44 with 2:30 left in the first half. I tweeted this out. If you're an all-time great center, you're watching this, and what kind of style of basketball is this right now that we're witnessing with these stretch fours and LeBron at center, and it's a really interesting style.
It definitely is an interesting style. I think it just talks about how the NBA is changing. Like you said, we've seen LeBron at center. Draymond Green's been playing center. There hasn't been a big man on the floor at points in this game, so it's definitely a change in the NBA and the style that's being played, and just the lack of traditional centers now in the NBA.
Yeah, so like you had said, LeBron forced to do so much, and if you look at his stat line right now, it's unbelievable. He's 18, 7, and 7 with a couple minutes to go in the second quarter. Does at any point you think this catches up to him, his workload?
I mean, I think it catches up to him at the end of the game a little bit.
Yeah,
and I think maybe last game it caught up to him, so he needs to definitely rest. They need to find him minutes to get him off the bench, get some players off the bench, even if it's only for quick stretches. He just needs some time off. Like you said, he's doing a ton of work. He's scoring. He's setting up his teammates. He's rebounding. He nearly had a triple-double in the first half, so it's pretty remarkable stuff.
Talk about what J.R. Smith's been able to do. He's been pretty inconsistent throughout this final, and he's finding the range tonight. Is one of the more streaky players you'll probably ever see. Got the range going in the first quarter and a little bit in the second as well.
Exactly. He's probably one of the streakiest players in the NBA. But when he's hot, and he can hit a ton of threes. So you've seen him tonight. He's had some good plays, some hit a good threes. But he's also had some bad plays just in the same game. So he's inconsistent from play to play. He's had some costly turnovers that led to easy fast break buckets for the Warriors. So you live in, I mean, JR, you're either going to get good or you're going to get bad.
Now, I think it's going to be a flagrant here.
Yeah,
it
could just be a flagrant.
And that would be the second on the Cavs in the game. J.R. Smith's one flagrant away from being suspended for the next game. Is there going to be a point in time where this becomes dirty and it's going to be an issue for the NBA? And these two teams clearly don't like each other, and it's good at times to see this back and forth, and you just don't want to see one of the better players, or if anybody, get hurt on one of these plays.
Yeah, well, I think this is a big time for the refs. They need to step up in this game and really lock it down. That's part of the job of a referee. If you see the game's getting a little bit out of hand, you just need to make sure you call the game a little bit tighter. Don't let them play after the whistle. And just so you, like you said, you don't have any big-time players get hurt, because that's a big issue. Especially, we just had an article posted on the website just talking about all the injuries this past postseason and how it's so much higher than last year.
So we have another review, and I would think this is going to be a flagrant foul on James Jones as they continue to go to Steve Javie, the former NBA official. So talking about the pace of this game, early on it looked like the Cavs are going to try to speed this tempo up. We haven't seen a game go deep into the hundreds. We haven't seen a really high-scoring game. It seems like the Cavs have played at the pace they wanted to play at in this game. Do you see this being any different? Because in the early going, it looked like the Warriors could win this one by 30. Cavs made a substitution. They made an adjustment. It's a very tough building to win, and the Cavs have done it once. Can they do it again at the pace they're playing at right now?
I think they can do it again, but they probably want to slow it down maybe a little bit more. Like you said, the game started off in the Warriors' favor. At that type of tempo for the Warriors, it was just back and forth. The Cavs had a lot of turnovers. The Warriors were getting in fast break buckets. But then they kind of slowed it down. Maybe they didn't slow the game down, but they really killed their momentum, which kind of killed the Warriors' energy, and they weren't as active. Like a lot of plays in Game 4, you saw them take inbound passes to easy baskets, and they weren't able to do that. It's partially the Cavs getting back and just not as much energy as the previous games.
Iguodala Bogut is now not even playing in this series. It's been an interesting fall off for him, and David Lee has been inserted. Sometimes you see in situations where he's not needed, and they're not getting beat up on the glass tonight. It's even. They've done a pretty good job of that. So it looks like Kerr will go away from Bogut. Lee played a little bit. Barbosa now 9 minutes. Iguodala, we know what he did in Game 4. Another rebound for him here. Even though he has only scored 1 point, he does have 6 assists, 6 rebounds, and now another basket here. So speak on the rotation and now Iguodala's presence.
I think the rotation, just in the Warriors in general, their roster and their depth, it allows Steve Kerr such flexibility and versatility just because they're able to come at you so many different ways. Their starting center for the whole season doesn't play well. They're able to replace him with a previous All-Star in David Lee. How many teams can really do that? And it just gives Steve Kerr a ton of options. And they have Andre Iguodala off the bench, who's now starting. And they kind of rested him all year. He didn't have to play a ton of huge minutes. He didn't have to play he didn't have a huge role. I mean, he wasn't starting, and now in the playoffs and the postseason and the finals, he's looked refreshed and ready to go, and he's played probably some of the best defense we saw in LeBron James in the postseason.
LeBron, another basket's probably going to have an all-time great night, and they're going to need every bit of it as Iguodala drives and kicks. They're going to need every bit of it to stay in this ball game because the Warriors are now clicking and playing at a high level. You talk about the Warriors' depth, but they're only going to play probably 8 guys. I can't see anybody else really getting in besides Lee, Livingston, and Barbosa off the bench. So I know they are deep and they play 9, 10, even sometimes 11 guys during the regular season. But I think it's just the experience that Iguodala and Lee bring in lesser roles that many other teams don't have.
Yeah, I think it's partially that, but I'm not referring to the depth as in they're going to play a lot of guys, but they just have the options in their depth. They're able to play different players and go from Bogut to Lee if it doesn't work out, and they're able to bring Andre Iguodala off the bench if one of the starters is off to a slow start. So I think that just gives them a ton of options.
Right, and I say if you can't enjoy this action, you got to look in the mirror. I mean, this is just incredible back and forth as Mike Miller connects on a 3, and it's 50-48 Cleveland. And so we're looking at a really good second half here with everything on the line. I don't remember the last time I could say that you saw a guy who's just clearly dominating the game, and LeBron is at 28-8 now. And if I'm the Warriors, I have to allow someone else to beat me in the second half. I've been saying this all series long that I'd be willing to send a second guy there, but they just have to give him a lot of different looks. And it seems like they found their best match in Iguodala and the best opportunity to stop him, and not Harrison Barnes.
Yeah, definitely. Iguodala has been substantially better than the rest of the Warriors as a team in defending LeBron. They've also done a pretty good job in helping him out. Last game, I think they sent 15 double teams at him. This game, they need to probably look to do that a little bit more. You just, like you said, you don't want to lose by LeBron. So, the other players haven't been playing great. Dellavedova hasn't been playing great. Moskov hasn't got a lot of minutes because of the small ball. So you're just letting LeBron beat you when the other options are doing well.
This offensive rebound dunk looks like on LeBron. Did they call they called a foul on LeBron as well?
Yes, it does look like they called a foul on LeBron. Yeah,
definitely is in a poster now. That will be hanging in Harrison Barnes' basement for a long time to come.
Exactly. That's probably one of his favorite moments as an NBA player.
I mean, looking straight in LeBron's face. And, LeBron is one of those guys that has a sensitive ego, it seems, at times, where he gets frustrated at his teammates. I'm not going to say he's not a great leader because I think he is. But he leads in a different way. We've seen him yell at Mario Chalmers with the Heat. We've seen the way he can get on his teammates. And sometimes I think as a leader, and Jordan had a little bit this too, he has a little bit of a sensitive ego when anything he's challenged or any play happens to him or any sign of adversity, there seems to be a little bit of a chip and an anger. Is that necessary, you think, to be that great and the way he carries himself? You have an issue with me?
I mean, like you said, he just leads in a different way. He's willing to yell at his teammates and he gets a little bit mad. He does have a sensitive ego, but if you want to be the best player in the game, you probably need to have that a little bit. So it comes with the territory. Maybe as he gets a little bit older, he'll be a little bit nicer and able to explain it better to his teammates and not necessarily yelling. So I think this year he's probably calmed down a little bit. Maybe in the postseason because he had to do so much work, he's been kind of a little bit more emotional. But I thought during the season he did a great job of mentoring this young team.
So when we get to halftime, we'll bring on John, who has done some great work on OTGbasketball.com. And again, you're listening to the OTG Basketball Podcast, and follow us on Twitter at OTG Basketball. So We'll bring on John in just a moment. Now it's halftime. Warriors lead the Cavs 51-50. What an amazing game that we have, and a great second half that we're in for in Game 5 with the series tied at 2. LeBron with 28 and 8, and Curry with 15. So both stars bringing it in the first half, and we're in for a good one. But without further ado, we'll bring on John. And John, you had talked a little bit about what the matchup would be, if I'm not mistaken, of, was it Bogut and Mozgov? Am I wrong?
No, yep. That's the matchup that I talked about.
Right. So first off, I know me and Nick talked about this at length, about Bogut and kind of him being probably not injured in this game, but just kind of being lost in translation here and what the center position really means in basketball. Mozgov, even a little bit less significant in this game as well. Like, can you really speak about what the Warriors have done to their rotation and kind of the style of play, and how what your thoughts are on the first half?
Well, first of all, it's been an awesome game to watch. Good old-fashioned hard fouling basketball. But in Game 4, before Game 4, I was talking to a bunch of my buddies that we watched the games together with, and I said, boy, was I wrong on the Mozgov. He had 28 in Game 4. Bogut didn't even play much. He had 3 fouls in 2 minutes. But I said I think the Warriors need to go small ball.
Right.
And I know that they asked Steve Kerr about that before Game 4, and he said that they were going to go Bogut, but he lied. But I think that has been the saving grace for Golden State, and we're seeing the Cavs go to small ball tonight to counter that, and It's been very evenly matched so far.
Yeah, I definitely think, like you said, Moskov's definitely won the battle at center. Bogut hasn't done much. It looks like he'll probably not play the rest of the series, and it looks like both teams are probably going to go to small ball. And it might be the Cavs' best lineup, maybe. Even if they play Tristan Thompson at center and LeBron at power forward, it could be their best lineup with J.R. Smith, Amon Shumpert, and Dellavedova. And then the same thing with the Warriors when they go small. So maybe we'll see the best basketball with the small ball lineups. And it's just, like we said, talks about how the NBA is changing.
Well, and we used to talk about this in college a lot. And John, when I mean, like, you want to make the team adjust to you. You don't want to have to adjust to the team. So a lot of people believe in, doing a lot of scouting reports, and some people don't believe in looking much scouting report because it's about what we do. And I think the Warriors have said, hey, you got to try to match up with what we're doing here. And they've kind of neutralized what the Cleveland Cavaliers' advantage was throughout this series on the glass. Because right now, if you look at the rebounding, it's 20-20, and Tristan Thompson, only had 5 rebounds, and Mozgov had none in 5 minutes. So it's almost like this series has completely wiped out that position, and something that we may thought the Cavs had an advantage on throughout these first 5 games.
Yeah, I agree completely. And I agree with you on the fact that I think this is the Cavs' best lineup, with LeBron at the 4 and Thompson at the 5, because Thompson, he's just an offensive rebounding beast, whether or not he's playing the 4 or the 5. And when LeBron was with the Heat all those years, he played the 4 there. So, when he's at the 4, you have Shumpert and JR that he's clearly gotten the ball to tonight, and J.R. Smith's another one. I knew I predicted him to have a big Game 4. I didn't expect him to go over 8 in Game 4, but he
looks good tonight.
He's clearly on tonight, which was what I think everyone was expecting to happen one of these games. So.
Yeah, definitely expected JR to come through one of these games. He wasn't going to shoot bad the whole series, but he's due for a few bad ones and a few good ones. But I wanted to touch on Harris's point. I agree with the fact that you want to make the team play the way that you play, and the Warriors definitely have done that. They want to play a fast, up-tempo game and play small ball. The Cavs do have some advantages when they play that way, but the Warriors have been playing that way all year, so I'll probably put my money on them to take the series if they're going to play small ball the rest of the way.
I wanted to get John's take on, me and Nick have spoke about this at length, about the depth and having guys buy in, and guys like Iguodala and Lee who have played bigger roles in teams of the past. But it's just amazing to me how a guy like Andre Iguodala and David Lee can adapt and evolve into having no egos. We've seen teams like the Spurs and teams that have won championship in this league make sacrifices, and I got to give a lot of credit to those two guys. And just talk about what you've seen from those two, and especially Iguodala over the last couple of games.
I was talking to my friends about the play of Andre Iguodala, and he literally looks like a different player to me with this Warriors team than the past, and I think a lot of that should go to Steve Kerr. I don't know what Steve Kerr did, but he's listened to it, and I think I told my friends that I think if the Golden State Warriors pulled this series off, I think he could easily be the MVP of the finals for his defense on LeBron. I mean, LeBron's still scoring, but he's just making it tough, and he's passing the ball well tonight and getting some pretty big rebounds too. So I just think he's really changed the way he's played from the past, and it's definitely showing here in the finals.
I wouldn't necessarily say he changed the way as he played in the past. I thought in Philadelphia he definitely was a big-time player. This year he's definitely aided in like a role player role, but he still has the capabilities to step up. But I definitely agree with the point that Iguodala has a chance to win Finals MVP if the Warriors do come away with this.
The interesting thing is Curry's averaging only, I mean, I can't say only, but Curry's going to go over 20 again, and he had 19 in game 2. So it'll be over 20 in all 5 of these games. But so I could see your point with Iguodala MVP, and also the point that you made about him changing the way he's played. I also think that's true because he's went to a more, and listen, he's been unselfish all year, but he's clearly turned up his level of play defensively. He's rebounding better. He looks to be moving the ball better. And again, if he's making open threes, it's just another dynamic option that they have on the perimeter. So I think he's really done a great job defensively on LeBron. And I'd love to see him get a ring. I mean, I've always been a Curry guy. If Curry is not on this team, I'm probably not as pro-Warriors as I am, but I've always been an Iguodala fan too because he's dynamic and he loves to defend. And right now it's showing, even though LeBron is scoring, it's showing that he's having an impact on this game on the defensive end of the floor.
Yeah, I agree. He in games 1 and 4 he played great D. And I know in game 1 that their game plan was way different than it was now, as you were talking about earlier, how the series has really evolved to the smaller lineup right now. But in game 1, when LeBron had 44, they pretty much went ISO against LeBron and made LeBron beat him on his jumpers, and he really played. I thought he played phenomenal D. Even tonight when LeBron had a few of his fadeaway jumpers, I didn't think Iguodala could do anything else defensively. I think he's playing really good at both ends of the floor.
Well, like Steve Kerr's mentioned, Iguodala is a very smart player, and he's done a great job of cutting off the angles for LeBron to have a good shot at the rim. Even though LeBron's a great player, though, so he's going to hit a ton of tough shots, even when Iguodala's in great position. So they'll take it, and like you said, they want to force him to the jumpers. But tonight with the small ball lineup, it kind of allows LeBron to get in the paint and not really have to worry about someone coming over and blocking a shot. He's pretty much the biggest player on the floor. So I think it helps the Warriors in a one way, and it kind of helps the Cavs in one way.
Well, what's and John, again, thank you for joining us. We had a real good time so far. Our little tradition here, we'll go around the horn, and we'll start with you on your prediction. I just want to address a tweet we got from Jordan Shank, one of our fans on Twitter. How is LeBron going to finish this game? I could easily see this being like a ridiculous video game line. I mean, if you look at this line, 28-8, you're probably going to see something like 40 plus, 15 rebounds plus, and probably 12, 13 assists. So this line's going to be scary. He's played 24 minutes. I can't see him sitting much in the second half. So LeBron's going to be a LeBron, and I don't know if it's going to be enough. It could be my prediction. I'll hold off, and we'll start with John, and we'll go around the horn on your prediction for the second half and who's going to win this game.
I think, as you mentioned before, with the Cavs going small ball, I know it's only 1-point game now, but I just think that you saw at the end of game 4, Golden State they just have that ability to pull away if they're hot. I think if the Cavs stay small ball, it allows Golden State to play their game, especially on offense. It's especially the way the game's been going right now. I would have to say Golden State still, as I tweeted, but I think it's gonna be closer than 7-point game that I tweeted about before. But yeah, to your point about LeBron, he's having a scary first half numbers wise already. It's like playing 2K, you know. I mean, so his numbers are going to be up there again. He's doing all he can do, really. So it's going to be fun to watch the second half. I think it's going to be, like games 1 through 3, one of those 5-point 5-point games.
And you like the Warriors to pull it out.
Yeah. Yep. My tweet was Golden State 103, Cavs 96. That's what I'm sticking to.
I'm going to roll the Warriors again tonight. I think that they're just like John mentioned. They have a different level they can turn it up to, and I could see them pulling away. The Cavs maybe not be able to keep up with this pace. They might get fatigued towards the fourth quarter. The Warriors will probably pull this out by, I think, 3 to 5 points. And LeBron will probably put up a stat line of something like 36, 15, and 12. So big game for him, but I don't know it'll be enough to get the Cavs over the top.
And Nick, I don't mean to brag, but I feel like we've been very on point in the playoffs and throughout our podcast on what's going to go down. We predicted a 2-2 after 4, and we've been saying 7 for a while. I'm not going to change my tune. I said 104, 101 before this game, and it looks like that could be on target. I did say Curry and Thompson and Lee would combine for 75. Lee not really holding up his end of the bargain tonight. He does have 2, Curry 15, so they only have 23, so a long way to go on that end. That was my bold prediction. But Warriors by 3 is my prediction. I think it's going to come down to one possession. I think the Cavs will get an opportunity to tie the game and come up short. My bold prediction is LeBron's going to have 45, 16, and 13. I think it's going to be one of those nuts stat lines, and I like the Warriors. But to all those people that have been listening to our podcast and following us through the finals, we want to thank you and all the writers that are producing great work on OTGbasketball.com and tweeting us at OTG Basketball. So, John, I want to thank you for coming on with us tonight. We had a great time. We're going to be back if there's a 7, if I'm not mistaken, Nick, and want to thank everybody who's been following us and listened tonight.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me on.
No
problem, John. You did a great job. Thank you for coming on, and I just wanted to thank the fans and everyone who's been supporting us. Appreciate all the feedback we receive, and thank you guys, and enjoy the rest of the finals.
And stay active on Twitter, too. We appreciate the back and forth with the fans.
Exactly. We love hearing your feedback and your comments, so definitely tweet us, and hopefully there's a Game 7 so you can hear us again. Enjoy. Yep.